What if extinction wasn't forever? Imagine standing face to face with a woolly mammoth, hearing the thunderous footsteps of a giant ground sloth, or watching a dodo waddle by, not in a museum, but in real life. Thanks to cutting-edge genetic science, cloning, and CRISPR technology, this isn't just science fiction anymore. Scientists around the world are working to bring back long-lost creatures, animals that vanished due to climate shifts, overhunting, or human interference. Today, we're counting down 15 extinct animals scientists are trying to bring back to life. And trust me, some of these will blow your mind. The woolly mammoth, an icon of the Ice Age, was a massive, shaggy elephant species that roamed the northern parts of North America, Europe, and Asia, standing up to 13 feet tall and weighing around 6 to 8 tons. These creatures were well adapted to cold climates, with thick fur, a hump of fat for energy storage, and long, curved tusks. They thrived during the Pleistocene epoch, but went extinct approximately 4,000 years ago, likely due to climate change and overhunting by humans. Today, scientists at Colossal Biosciences and Harvard University are working on de-extincting the woolly mammoth by editing the DNA of Asian elephants, their closest living relatives, to create a hybrid species that could help restore Arctic ecosystems. The dodo was a flightless bird endemic to Mauritius, an island in the Indian Ocean. Standing about 3 feet tall and weighing around 15 to 20 pounds, the dodo inhabited the island's forests and had no natural predators until humans arrived. It became extinct in the late 1600s due to overhunting and the introduction of invasive species like rats and pigs, which ate dodo eggs. Recent studies suggest the dodo was more agile and robust than previously thought, challenging the notion of it being clumsy and slow. Colossal Biosciences has announced plans to bring back the dodo using genetic technologies, aiming to reintroduce it to its native habitat. Passenger pigeon, also known as Ectopistes migratorius, once numbering in the billions, the passenger pigeon was the most abundant bird in North America, inhabiting deciduous forests east of the Rocky Mountains. These birds were about 16 inches long and traveled in massive flocks that could darken the sky for hours. They went extinct in the early 20th century due to overhunting and habitat destruction. Revive and Restore, a biotech conservation group, is working to bring back the passenger pigeon by using DNA from preserved specimens and breeding it with the band-tailed pigeon, its closest living relative. The Tasmanian tiger, also known as the thylacine. The Tasmanian tiger was a carnivorous marsupial native to Australia, Tasmania, and New Guinea. It resembled a large dog with stripes on its back, measuring about 3 to 4 feet in length, with a tail adding another 2 feet. The thylacine became extinct in the 20th century, with the last known one dying in captivity in 1936. Colossal Biosciences is collaborating with the University of Melbourne to de-extinct the thylacine by reconstructing its genome and using stem cell technology to create embryos for implantation into surrogate marsupials. The Pyrenean ibex, also known as Capra pyrenaica. The Pyrenean ibex was a subspecies of the Spanish ibex that lived in the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain. It was a robust wild goat, with males weighing up to 220 pounds and sporting large, curved horns. The species went extinct in 2000, but in 2003, scientists cloned a female ibex, marking the first de-extinction attempt. Unfortunately, the clone died shortly after birth due to lung defects. Researchers continue to explore cloning techniques to bring back the Pyrenean ibex, using preserved genetic material and surrogate mothers. Aurochs, also known as Bos primigenius. The aurochs was a large wild cattle species that roamed Europe, Asia, and North Africa, standing up to 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weighing around 1,500 pounds. Aurochs were the ancestors of modern domestic cattle. They became extinct in the 17th century due to overhunting and habitat loss. The Toros program and other initiatives are attempting to breed back the aurochs by selectively breeding modern cattle that retain aurochs-like traits, aiming to restore the species' ecological role in European landscapes. Heath hen, also known as Tympanuchus cupido, the heath hen was a subspecies of the greater prairie chicken, native to the scrubby heathlands of the northeastern United States, measuring about 17 inches in length. The heath hen was known for its elaborate mating dances. It became extinct in 1932 due to overhunting and habitat destruction. Revive and Restore is exploring the possibility of bringing back the heath hen by using genetic material from museum specimens and breeding it with closely related prairie chicken subspecies. The quagga, also known as Equus quagga quagga, the quagga was a subspecies of the plains zebra, distinguished by its unique pattern of stripes on the front half of its body and a solid brown rear. Native to South Africa's grasslands, quaggas were about 8.5 feet long and stood around 4.5 feet tall at the shoulder. They went extinct in the late 19th century due to overhunting. The Quagga Project in South Africa is working to recreate the quagga through selective breeding of plains zebras that exhibit quagga-like traits, aiming to reintroduce them into their former habitats. The great auk, also known as Pinguinus impennis, the great auk was a flightless seabird that inhabited the North Atlantic coasts, from Canada to northern Europe, standing about 30 inches tall and weighing around 11 pounds. It was an adept swimmer, using its wings to propel through water. The species went extinct in the mid-19th century due to overexploitation for its feathers, meat, and oil. Scientists are considering de-extinction efforts for the great auk by extracting DNA from preserved specimens and using closely related species, like the razorbill, as surrogates. The moa, also known as order Dinornithiformes, the moa were a group of flightless birds endemic to New Zealand, with some species standing up to 10 feet tall and weighing around 550 pounds, making them among the largest birds to have ever lived. They occupied various habitats, from forests to shrublands, and were the dominant herbivores before human arrival. The moa became extinct approximately 600 years ago due to overhunting by the Maori and habitat destruction. Given the relatively recent extinction and the availability of well-preserved remains, scientists are exploring the possibility of reviving the moa through genetic engineering and cloning techniques. The Irish elk, also known as Megaloceros giganteus. Despite its name, the Irish elk was neither exclusively Irish nor an elk. It was one of the largest deer species, standing about 7 feet tall at the shoulders, with antlers spanning up to 12 feet. The Irish elk ranged across Eurasia during the Pleistocene epoch and went extinct around 7,700 years ago, possibly due to climate change and human hunting. Fossilized remains have provided substantial genetic material, prompting discussions about the feasibility of de-extincting this majestic species through advanced genetic technologies. Steller's sea cow, also known as Hydrodamales gigas. Steller's sea cow was a massive, herbivorous marine mammal that once swam the cold waters of the Bering Sea near the Commander Islands. First documented in 1741, these gentle giants could grow up to 30 feet, 9 meters, long and weigh 8 to 10 tons. They were closely related to manatees and dugongs, but were significantly larger. Living in shallow coastal areas, they fed on kelp and had no predators until humans arrived. In less than 30 years after its discovery, this creature was hunted to extinction by sailors and fur traders. Today, some scientists consider using dugongs as a genetic base to bring it back, but full DNA sequencing remains incomplete. Cave lion, also known as Panthera spelaea, once prowling the Pleistocene plains of Europe, Asia, and even parts of Alaska, the cave lion was one of the largest lion species ever, reaching up to 11 feet, 3.3 meters in length and weighing around 700 pounds, 320 kilograms. This predator was an apex hunter. Cave paintings and frozen remains in Siberia give us a vivid picture of its power and stature. Remarkably preserved cubs provide valuable DNA, making the cave lion a prime candidate for resurrection through cloning. Andrewsarchus, also known as Andrewsarchus mongoliensis. Andrewsarchus is one of the most mysterious and terrifying prehistoric mammals ever discovered. It lived during the Eocene epoch, around 45 million years ago, and was first unearthed in Mongolia in the 1920s. Known primarily from a single massive skull over 2.95 feet, 90 centimeters long, scientists estimate the full animal could have measured up to 12 feet, 3.6 meters in length and weighed over 1,800 pounds, 800 kilograms. Despite its wolf-like appearance, Andrewsarchus is believed to be more closely related to modern hippos and whales than to carnivores. It likely had powerful jaws capable of crushing bone, suggesting it was a top predator, or at least an opportunistic scavenger, of its time. Its enormous size, strange ancestry, and the mystery surrounding its full appearance have intrigued scientists for decades. While no usable DNA has yet been found, Andrewsarchus continues to fuel imaginations and serves as a symbol of how much we still have to learn, and perhaps even resurrect, from Earth's deep past. The dream of bringing back extinct animals is no longer confined to science fiction. It's inching toward reality. From giant sloths to woolly mammoths, these creatures once ruled our world. But as we attempt to revive them, we must ask ourselves, are we ready for their return? And what responsibilities will we have if we succeed? If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient life and cutting-edge science, hit that like button, comment your favorite extinct animal below, share this video with fellow history lovers, and subscribe to stay updated on future discoveries. Thanks for watching.